Madam Clerk, please call the next public speaker.
Robert, and I know I'm going to pronounce the name wrong, but I'm Knud?
Good evening. Please identify yourself and proceed.
My name is Robert Cundy. I am a resident of Bakersfield. I've lived here for 24 years, and I've worked in Kern County agriculture for 24 years. It's been my honor through that time to serve with hardworking farmers and hardworking farm workers to help produce food for Californians in the world. It's likely some of my coworkers have been illegal immigrants, but when I've worked with them, that is not what I have seen. What I have seen is hardworking people, men and women, trying to support their families and contribute to the community. The crops that we harvest don't care whether folks are illegal or not, and frankly, neither do I, because it takes all of us working together to be able to produce food to feed ourselves, both in California and around the world. I've spoken to some of my friends in the farming community about this issue. Some of them are quite proud to be conservative Republicans. And I have yet to find any support for Councilmember Couch's proposals. I have found general agreement that the proposals are divisive and serve no constructive purpose. I note the comments of the Farm Bureau's Executive Director, Matthew Park, when these proposals were first made, in which he said that the Farm Bureau supports immigration reform, but the immigration issues are properly addressed at the federal level. When Councilmember Couch first proposed his ideas, I found myself agreeing with Mayor Hall's comments that these proposed resolutions would serve to divide rather than unite our community. I respect Councilmember Couch's service on the council and to the community. I believe he's a good man. However, for the reasons I've just described, I would urge you to vote against these proposed resolutions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, please read the next public speaker.
Kent Bowersox.
Is Mr. Bowersox present?
Okay.
Good evening. Please identify yourself and proceed.
Kent Bowersox. My apologies for being late. Mayor and Council, I have a simple statement. I don't support all of Mr. Couch's resolutions. However, passing a resolution that English is the official language of Bakersfield does nothing but simply support the law that's already on the books of California. I see no harm in that, especially since English is the common language of this country and is one of the foundations in the cement which binds it together. I also have no problem with Mr. Couch's resolution calling for us to set forth our intent not to become a sanctuary city. That simply would be adding insult to injury as far as I'm concerned and aiding illegal immigrants. I agree with many of the speakers that have spoken here today that immigrants, both illegal and legal, are hardworking, okay? Having been in the public service for over 30 years, I can attest to that. They're some of the hardest working people I've ever seen. However, I want them to come here legally, I want them to learn our language, and I want them to continue to be productive citizens. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, please call the next public speaker.
Marty Rodriguez.
Good evening. Please identify yourself and proceed.
Good evening. My name is Marty Rodriguez, and I live in Bakersfield. I've lived in Bakersfield for over 20 years. I'm glad to be here tonight to be counted among the people who are in opposition to Councilmember Couch's resolutions. And I must say that I wrote and rewrote my thoughts about what I wanted to say tonight, and it's such a complex issue. I just kept tearing up all my notes, and I figured what I would do was just talk about some of the reasons that I'm opposed to these resolutions. One reason is that there's really no tangible benefit to the community. I think we've heard that, we've read it. I don't think that needs to be discussed any further. I think that's pretty clear to all of us at this point. I believe that these resolutions also isolate and punish members of the community who speak a language other than English. And I think that's rather ironic because I believe that speaking a second language, particularly Spanish in this area, is quite a benefit to all of us. Businesses know that. That's why they hire people who speak Spanish. They advertise in Spanish, and they seek the economic rewards of serving the Spanish-speaking community. I think that these resolutions scare people, and they make us feel less welcome in this community. And I'm not just referring to the so-called illegal immigrants, but I'm talking about people who are legal residents and some who are even naturalized citizens, whom I talked with, who are now feeling that they need to have some kind of proof of their legal right to be here because they're afraid that somebody might mistake them for somebody who's an illegal immigrant. And that is based solely on the skin color, the color of their hair, the fact that they may speak Spanish. That's a harsh reality, but it's true. And it really bothers me to see people who I think should not have to be afraid of this, who actually are afraid of this now. I think that these resolutions feel like a slap in the face to people who work hard for very low wages, working very long hours. We all know that. These people have likely provided some type of service to us today as we have gone about our business. I think that immigration reform is needed. We all agree on that. But isolating and denigrating the contribution of these workers gets us no closer to that goal. I thank you for taking the time to listen to us tonight. And on behalf of the Social Justice Task Force, I do have some additional postcards that I would like to hand in. Yes.
Please provide the city clerk with your cards, please.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, please call the next 5 speakers, please.
Let's see, we have Craig Olson, Donato Ventura, Ernest Morse, Edward Herrera, and Jan Gary. The next speaker would be Craig Olson.
Good evening. Please identify yourself and proceed.
My name is Craig Olson. I've lived in Bakersfield for 15 or 16 years. Hello, Mayor Hall, council members. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this. I felt drawn here. Everybody, the sign behind you in the statement said, pluribus unum, from many one. That's what we're trying to do here tonight, is I believe that speaking the same language, it draws us together. If we don't, we cut and separate. I think Council Member's couch is a good idea. My family came from Norway. My father was 100% Norwegian. He didn't know the language. His parents came to the United States, farmed in Minnesota, left the language where they came from, spoke broken English. My dad did not know it. I don't know it. We're American citizens. We're from the United States of America. Please, for God's sakes, let us unite in that. I have no disdain for anyone. Everyone's hardworking. This is what the city of Bakersfield, this is what the United States of America is all about. Please, let's unite. Let's become one. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, please call the next public speaker.
Donato Ventura. Mr. Ventura,